host, Teresa Lusk. Listen, this is the place where we're going to talk about faith, family, business, and politics. And to do that, I have a special guest today. I have Zach Barrett. Zach, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Teresa.
I want to tell you just a little bit about Zach. First of all, Zach has been deeply involved in conservative grassroots politics as an activist and consultant and party leader. He has served as president of the Collin County Conservative Republicans, one of the largest and oldest conservative political action committees in North Texas, and he has successfully advised and managed numerous campaigns throughout Texas. Listen, I wanted to bring Zach in because he is an unapologetic voice. Even before the show began, we were talking about how he does have passion for what's going on in our local politics. So today we're going to talk about the power of local politics, and we're going to talk about his involvement. You know, he has been instrumental in bringing major speakers to Collin County, such as Lara Trump and Carrie Lake.
And most recently.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about local politics. You and I were in Collin County, but what is the importance of local politics and what's the power? Why such a big deal?
Well, local politics is what's most important to the people. It's the closest to the people. What happens in your city councils, your school boards is what's affecting you. County commission, that's what's affecting you the most on a day-to-day basis. So sometimes they get overlooked many times because they don't get the publicity in the news like Congress and the governor and U.S. Senate and, of course, the president receives. But those positions don't affect you on a day-to-day basis as much as your local politics does.
Mm-hmm. Explain how, though, because I've heard a lot of political leaders say that, but I really want to take this moment to educate our viewers, because I think that as long as we don't offer some education, people aren't going to do their best to go and do something about it. So how does it affect you personally? How does it affect you more on a day-to-day? Give me some examples.
Well, let's start with your school board. That's probably the lowest of all elected positions, and I don't mean that derogatory.
Sure.
Especially if you have children that are currently in the school district. The school board is going to decide the curriculum. It's going to decide who are the teachers, the administration. And so they will determine how they rear your child, how they will educate your child. Are they just going to be teaching the basics, math, reading, arithmetic, the sciences, or are they going to go further in that and try to indoctrinate your child into believing into a certain agenda and a mission? And so you have to watch that closely. So that's one example at the school board. Your city council will determine, what is useful for, determining parks, or your tax dollars are going to go to a park that's going to be, and what's that park going to be? A venue. They're going to determine how many apartments are being built in your area. There's zoning and commission.
That's really good. So you brought something up about the school, because right now we see the messes going on in the schools with this woke agenda, liberal agenda, really kind of a very perverse agenda that's taking place. Zach, and as a parent, that concerns me. Thankfully, I don't have my kids in public school anymore. But we took our kids out of public school years ago for this reason. We could see what was going on. We made some financial adjustments and said, we will compromise financially for the sake of our children. So that right here is very important. Right now, there is, we just had an election here in the Collin County for the school board placements, and it didn't go very well. Talk about that a little bit. And this is why we're bringing you this informational session right now, because it is important. But look at what happened. Tell us a little bit about some of the candidates and how is that going to affect us in the future?
Well, specifically here in Collin County. So for those who are not from Collin County, that would be the cities of Frisco, McKinney, Plano, Allen are the four major cities. And you got a few other cities within the county: Anna, Melissa, Farmersville, Princeton. The reason why the school board races did not go well this go around is because simply not enough people out there voting. They don't understand, or they're not aware of what's exactly going on and who to vote for. Within the grassroots, we all know who to vote for. We know who the men and women that we have selected, who we've endorsed, who we're promoting, campaigning for, block walking, you name it. We know, but see, it needs to go well beyond the grassroots if we're really going to make change. There's so many people who don't get involved in the grassroots because they didn't know that they even exist. They don't care. They don't have time. There's so many different excuses. So we have to start making our message go much further than the echo chambers that we get involved in.
Okay. What are some of the reasons that you think it seems like, I mean, I look at the school board races that went on here in our county, and I looked up some of the things that these people represented and stood for. And I thought, why are there so many people voting for this? What is the problem? Are people around here asleep? Where is the apathy?
Well, and specifically in McKinney and Frisco, those school board races were going to be very tough to win because they have McKinney and Frisco have mayors that are very well liked. I don't have much to say kindly about the mayor of McKinney. I've had personal issues with him in the past, but regardless, he's a very popular gentleman. A lot of people like him. They don't know exactly maybe why they like him, but I mean, he also has a lot of popularity because he plays in a band with his wife. He's a big developer.
Optics.
Optics. Yeah. He looks different than a typical, politician with a coat and tie on and that type of thing. And so that resonates with a lot of ignorant, uninformed voters, including conservatives, Republicans, because they don't know.
Right. And when you say ignorant, that's what you mean, is that they just haven't done their homework to go and see, what am I voting for? I mean, that's kind of what happened in 2008.
And in Frisco, again, Jeff Cheney is a very popular mayor there because he has brought in a lot of development into Frisco. I mean, you just look at it, the Star, where the Cowboys are located. The PGA headquarters is moving to Frisco, or has. Universal Studios is coming in. And so you have a lot of business development, which is, I love. I don't disagree with any of that.
Sure.
But that will convolute a lot of people's opinions about somebody. And so if the mayor is promoting these candidates for school board or city council, then hey, if he's saying it, then I must adhere to it and do what he says.
Well, which is kind of what I think happened this time, or at least in our city, is that, because the mayor was endorsing these people, they had the opportunity to, they had they were able to get ahead. So this is really unfortunate. What are some things that we need to be very aware of in this season? We're heading into the 2024 election. There's so many things going on here, even in our state. I mean, you heard about the Ken Paxton thing. You're absolutely just appalled at what's going on. Tell us a little bit about that, because those things are important even as we head into the 2024 presidential elections.
Well, the Ken Paxton situation is a travesty to the state of Texas and to America, quite frankly.
Yes.
He is the strongest attorney general that the state of Texas has ever had, and I believe that America has had, at least in a long time. Ken Paxton has fought for the Texans, the American people, against this horrible Biden administration. He has kept a lot of bills or unconstitutional actions from the Biden administration to come into effect. And I believe Ken Paxton has the best interest in the state of Texas. And what the House of Representatives in the state of Texas legislature did over the weekend was an absolute joke. They have not allowed, there is no evidence. Right. They're going on hearsay, third-hand rumors, and it's just allegations again, and there was no reason for them to do what they did.
Wow. It's kind of interesting because I started researching him a little more thoroughly as this broke out. And one of the things that I realized was how much his policies mirror President Trump's.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, this makes sense. I even posted something about that on my social media. I shared it with you. And I said, I was thinking to myself, this is interesting how there's a pattern here with these leaders that they want to do something good for our nation, for our state, and they're getting this kind of resistance.
When you are going up against an establishment group, and Ken Paxton is not part of the establishment. He may be in politics for a long time, but that doesn't necessarily make someone part of the establishment. What makes someone part of the establishment is when you're just going to coat the company line, never fight for the actual people, in the grassroots and for people on the ground. If you're just going to go take orders, that's what really the idea of establishment is. Ken Paxton has not done that. He has done the exact opposite. So that's why a lot of people in Austin, including in DC, do not like Ken Paxton, because he will not play by the rules, just like President Trump did.
That's right.
I'm not saying he broke laws
Right.
to do his job as the attorney general or as what President Trump did. That's not what I mean by not playing by the rules. But you're not going to go into the swamp in DC or Austin and go along to get along,
Right.
and just, take taxpayers' money for your, and pocket it into your, self-interest.
Wow. So hopefully that this will turn over, and, he will be vindicated for, for what he has stood for. I think that's important. I see it. It's a hard thing, because I go back to what's happening to President Trump, and I think how unfortunate that is as well. And you just see this pattern that keeps repeating itself in our U.S. Government, with our U.S. politicians, whether they're local or, federal, whatever it is. It just seems like there's so much going on that's not good. And we were just talking about this, how
I want to make another comment about
Sure.
this Paxton situation.
Go for it.
The reason why so many Republican state representatives chose to vote for impeachment is simply because they are tied to Dade Phelan, the Speaker of the House.
Okay.
Dade Phelan is a very wealthy individual. His family, at the very least, the Phelan family, owns pretty much every square inch of Beaumont, Texas. There's a main avenue in Beaumont called Phelan Drive. Banks, other businesses are named after Phelan family. They go back many years. They're oil tycoons down in Southeast Texas. And so he has had a lot of money to give to Republican state rep candidates who will abide by what he wants them to do. So in a lot of these men and women, they're so desperate. They need money to run, to have a chance of winning. And so they're like, okay, I need your money. And so they'll take it, but it comes with a cost.
Wow.
And so they were not going to allow Ken Paxton to embarrass their sugar daddy, their financier. I mean, just here in Collin County, you can look it up. This is all on public record. Jeff Leach, who is my state rep, he himself took $65,000 last year from Dade Phelan.
Wow.
For his campaign. Matt Shaheen, another rep of this county, took $47,000. So it's not like they're just taking a couple grand from this guy. These guys throughout the state of Texas are taking major money from Dade Phelan.
Well, that's really unfortunate. I think that continues to happen as we continue to see. But we were just talking about that just a bit ago, that we were hoping that this is going to begin to change, because people are resisting this. They are resisting this situation. So we're hoping that there is going to be a change. What is your estimation of that? Do you think that as people continue to raise their voices, go out there and stand for justice and for what's right, what do you think about that?
As far as the change in this coming in the legislature next year.
Yeah. And with all that we keep seeing with these people who are just doing things for money's sake and to be in the group with the rhinos is,
Yeah. I believe that we have to keep the message going. As I told you before we were on the air, I hope that what's happened over the weekend will not eventually fade away. Mm-hmm. So we have to continue to remind people what happened, mm-hmm. that this was injustice. I don't know what will eventually happen with Ken Paxton. Mm-hmm. But regardless of what you think of him personally or what you may actually think with this impeachment, we have to have a process that takes place. Mm-hmm. And nobody is we have made the U.S. the Texas House of Representatives practically said you are guilty, and we will not care what the process says. Yeah. But we don't live in a country where you're guilty until proven innocent.
Right.
It's the exact opposite.
Right.
So as far as changes, we're going to have to find men and women throughout the state of Texas who have the passion, the courage, the just the it factor to run and take on the challenge. It will not be easy, especially when you're going up against an incumbent. You're going up against incumbents who are well, funded, and it will not be easy. Yeah. But we have to give it an effort. We have to try. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, if we just go down without a fight, then they've won. They can walk all over us, control us, own us till the end of time.
Yeah. Well, as we get close to wrapping this up, I just want to talk about one last thing, and it was the college, mm-hmm. the college board race. So there's a runoff, and tell the viewers why that is so important right now for them to go out and vote here in our area.
Okay, so Collin College Board of Trustees, which is an elected position, which a lot of people unfortunately do not know, but it is. And it's having a runoff. Early voting started today, and the election will be held on June 10th. So you got to get out there and vote. And the reason why is because Collin College is a very important aspect of this county, of this community. And just like any college, unfortunately, we have professors, we have academia who are promoting major liberal woke ideology. Mm-hmm. And if they can get to them at that age, and they're really obviously starting to go younger, but specifically we're talking about a junior college here in Collin County, we have to have a board of trustees who will prevent that type of propaganda teaching from happening. Yeah. And they have the power to do that. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we have a incumbent right now. Her name is Stacey Donald, who absolutely needs to be beat.
Agreed.
And I mean beat, I'm talking about through voting.
Yeah.
She has put out nasty rhetoric on her social media. I can't even mention what she has mentioned.
Yeah.
I can say this, at every college board of trustees meeting, she turns her back to the American flag during the Pledge of Allegiance.
Wow.
And she's been doing that now for quite some time. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is an elected official in our county that is acting that way.
Yeah. It is absolutely important.
So let me mention that we need to go out there and vote for Kathy Alexander to beat Stacey Donald, and we need to reelect Jay Sod, who's an incumbent, who's a conservative, who's been endorsed. Both him and Kathy have been endorsed by many of the conservative grassroots organizations and the Collin County GOP. We need to keep Jay on the board, add Kathy to the board, so we can keep Collin College strong and just continue to promote education, not indoctrination.
Not an agenda, correct. Well, and those of you who are watching, I just want to encourage you to really listen to what it is that's being taught here today, because I love to bring guests who will educate you. so that you'll know why is it so important. This isn't just let's get you politically involved. This is let's use your foundational principles that you grew up with and say, let's make America great again. Let's make our cities and our states, our counties great again. And the way that you'll do that is to educate yourself. Why is this important? Why are all these local offices important? And so, Zach, I really want to thank you for being on here today. Thank you for bringing forth the education. And where can people find you if they want to get in touch?
You can go to the company that I'm a consultant for, Strategic Political Management. You can find us on there if you're looking to run for office, or you are with a PAC or a special interest group. We are interested in talking to you. Otherwise, just find me around town, I guess.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to the Teresa Lusk Show. Don't forget to share this. I want to stay in touch with you, so make sure that you connect, and we will see you again soon. God bless.